Hi, welcome. Thanks for checking out this video today. We're talking with Anne Donnelly with Omani Donnelly and Ireland. How are you doing today, Anne?
I'm great, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Well, Anne, I asked you to join me today to have a conversation because you've done some pretty interesting things with using the web and social media to grow your business and actually to launch it over in Ireland. So tell me a little bit about your business and why you guys decided to initially use the web and start to use social media over 12 years ago when you moved there.
Yes, my husband and I were living in London. He grew up in London, but his family are originally from Ireland, and we had an opportunity to move over here. Now he was working as a senior in practices in London, but when we were here, he saw the opportunity to start up his own practice. Now, I had been working for a multinational printing company for over 10 years, and I saw this as an opportunity to make a change in what I was doing as well. And the internet was starting to grow and grow in popularity. So I bought a big fat book on how to do HTML, and I learned how to do a website. So we saw a website as being a good way to get started promoting the new practice, to stay in touch with Michael's clients that he had in the UK, because he did have a few of his own clients, as well as working for a practice there. And as a way for me to see how the internet could work to benefit the business. So as he was getting ready to launch the new firm, I was working really hard. I was about 9 months pregnant with our second child as well. Crouching down on a little table. We didn't have a proper computer table, and set up our first website. And I don't think I have a screen capture of that now, thank God.
Well, yeah, websites have changed quite a bit, I imagine, over the last 12 years. But that's amazing. I remember learning HTML code as well, and it's still a useful quality to have, but I think it's come quite a long way. So, what did you find in some of those initial days? Because 12 years ago was quite a long time, and I think there's some firms out here today that are still working off the same website they may have had 12 years ago. So, what were some of those results that you found in the initial days of starting your company?
At first, like very soon in, we might not have seen as many results. And I think, too, we were just busy getting started with the
Mm-hmm.
firm itself. And we were trying a lot of different ways to promote ourselves locally, like direct mail shots to local businesses and joining networking groups like BNI, which I know was worldwide, so a lot of
Yes.
people would know of it, and not getting great results. And I think that what we found was that we weren't from here.
Mm-hmm.
We were competing with people that other guys had been to school with, that would have known the others as a lot better. So then we started finding that we were getting these inquiries via the website, and we started doing a bit of email marketing as well. And we were getting inquiries about people looking to do business in Ireland. We had started doing a series of articles, which I thought were just going to provide good information, but actually were great for search engine optimization, which people didn't really know about back then either. And the big article that we did was moving to Ireland from the UK, because we had great experience in that. And we use it as a way to partner with other people in the area to tell us about real estate, about recruitment, and about the economy. So the article included all those things. So we were coming up really high whenever anyone was searching for moving to Ireland from the UK.
That's
So I think
great.
that's probably the big thing that really got us
So
going
you
there.
you kind of figured out early on that content was really a key driver in really
Yeah. Yeah.
capturing interest and engagement online. So if we fast forward to the last few years, as we've seen social media really take and shift the way that we communicate, how have you guys embraced social media, and what have been the results of some of that you've seen?
Well, I got very strong into social media myself because I kind of started my own web development and online marketing business. So I was kind of running that parallel to the accountancy practice. So I went full steam into social media and was online a lot using Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. And I was really building up my profile as sort of an online marketing expert in the area. And in some ways, it may have taken away from the whole Omani Donnelly accountancy practice profile, which I'm changing now. Mm-hmm. But Michael was a bit, my partner, the accountant here, he was a bit reluctant about the amount of time spent on it. But then when we started getting customers, clients for him, because they got to know me. Mm-hmm. So they got to know me through Twitter particularly and thought, well, she knows what she's talking about, and so must her partner. So it really did bring people over. Mm-hmm. And exposed the Omani Donnelly accountancy site. And so we would tweet about, like, when the new budget would come out, we would be posting things up. And Michael started blogging himself. And also with email marketing, tying it all together. I think that was the key. So not just using the one, but the email marketing would help tie in with, say, he had certain clients that were waiting to find out what was happening with specific legislation about whether it was favorable to set up in Ireland. Mm-hmm. So then when we found out, when that information was released, then sending out the email newsletter to follow up, and then follow up with the clients, and then get their businesses going here.
That's great. Now, how were you able to identify some of these opportunities through social media? Were these people coming to you? Were they people asking questions on Twitter or some of the other social media platforms?
Yeah, I think it was monitoring what people are talking about. So you might see, for me, the most important step in your marketing, online marketing, offline marketing, is identifying what your target market is and really, really like getting into the head of that person and knowing who they are, where they are on the internet, and when they're on the internet, and what sort of things they're talking about and what sort of problems they need solved. That's the one thing that we're really focusing on at the moment in our marketing.
That's great.
So I really, that's the thing, I spend a lot of time online, which a lot of people wouldn't have, and watching what people are talking about. So that would help us to identify. But really in the beginning, it was more people coming to us saying, oh, I'm starting up a new business, I need a company set up. And the company formations has been a great leader in bringing in prospects to the business.
That's great. So you said you spent a lot of time online, and I think for somebody with your background, your marketing background, it's easier to spend a little bit more time. But what about for your partners? You mentioned that one of them is blogging. How do you balance the time when you do have other things in your day that you have to do if you don't have an agency that you're running or things like that? What are you guys doing to help manage those time constraints? Do you have any tips?
I'd say you definitely have to have a schedule. With clients that I work with, we have a 7-day schedule where you actually block out time during the day, including what your regular work schedule is, but also have, say, an hour a day. Or I'm laughing because I think people say an hour a day, but for social media, you need a little bit of time, say in the morning, and a little bit of time later on. This all needs to be driven by your target market, as I said. For the social media, for blogging, I would love to see people have an hour a week, or maybe a couple hours a week. But you can sit down and plan out, content topics ahead of time.
Absolutely.
And so have that scheduled, depending on seasonality. With accountancy, you definitely have seasons and ideas for content that can be driven by that. Also, any legislation, things like that are coming up in what's going on in the economy. So have that time scheduled, so based on when it's best for you, and a time that you're not going to leave it. So if it's first thing in the morning, so that it gets done and doesn't keep getting pushed to the end. And that's the best way to manage your time.
Great. Is there anything that you wish you had known up front before jumping into this area that you kind of learned afterwards?
I wish that we had outsourced more of the technical aspects of it. I pretty much did everything myself. From all the little HTML, which it was great at the time, but the technology zoomed past me. Mm-hmm. And, with all the other tasks that I had responsibility for, keeping up with the technology was not one of them. My time would have been better spent generating content, probably, because that would have been my stronger suit.
Sure.
So to allocate those things outside, I'd say most practices do not have anyone with that sort of technical ability. Like, even if you have a practice that's big enough to have someone to handle IT, they probably are not going to be a web developer. Not
Right.
to the, you need someone with the right skill set. And so that's what I would highly advise that people is really evaluate what your needs are and make sure you're hiring real experts. It may cost you a little bit more money, but you're going to be better off down the line.
Absolutely. Any final tips or advice for people that are thinking about getting into this and dipping their toe in the water of using the web and social media a little bit more to grow their businesses?
Do not be afraid. The main thing. I think people are getting more comfortable with it, but I think at the beginning people are like, oh no. You don't have to be overly personal. I think you do need to give a bit, especially as far as social media is concerned. But, really sit down, but have a plan. Really have a plan. Manage your time, manage your content, and I think you won't go wrong.
Great. Well, Anne, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for asking me again.
All right.